I'm in the world, but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, hitting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to Target! Let's go to Target! Get some PlayStations! Let's go to Target!
Welcome, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I've been getting more sick, not less sick. It's been a rough couple days. I got a sore throat and stuffy nose. Yeah, so a little low energy today. Tired. I didn't want to wake up. But we got to get the show going. We got to get the show on the road. So it's Monday night. It's Black History Month, guys. You know, we got to celebrate Black History Month. We got to celebrate Latino History Month with the Super Bowl. That's what we got today. We got Super Bowl stuff, the commercials, the halftime show, the game, the score, all that stuff. We'll take a look at that. Probably going to get some copyrights on this stream because I'm going to play some clips and stuff from the halftime shows and whatnot, and some commercials. I haven't even watched the commercials yet, but I got a top 10 commercials video. Maybe we'll skim through those or just watch a couple of them. And then the Clinton hearing. Clinton's had an Epstien hearing, but it was a closed door one. And now they're calling for a public hearing. So, you know, who are the murderers? Where is it? Why is it?
Who's the murderers?
There it is.
Clinton, he murdered a guy.
The Clinton hearing. We'll look at that. And then lastly, what was the last thing? Oh, yeah. The Trump monkey situation. The racist Trump truth. The Obama gorillas. Racist. We'll look at that. That's so funny. So that's all the main stuff. And then in the rapid fire news, we have a lot of little stories. We'll look at that. Guthrie kidnapping. And Kamala's got a podcast coming out. Are we going to be watching the Kamala podcast? We can react to the Kamala show. And maybe she's running for president again. Maybe that's why she's starting a podcast. We'll get that in rapid fire. Natives are trying to get their land back from Billie Eilish. She stole their land. They want their land back. So that's all the stuff that we're going to get into today. Let's get it going. All right. Where is my stuff? Okay. Super Bowl. Seahawks win 29-13. Apparently, you know, it was the Seahawks defense just overran them, wouldn't let them score, getting turnovers and whatnot. Let's watch one clip from a nice little pick here. Nice little touchdown pick. Where's this at? Let's see this.
And they bring a pressure as well. And there as Witherspoon came under pressure.
And it's a touchdown.
Is going the distance.
They showed the slow-mo of that. The dude is right there to catch it when he hits him. you can't really be playing the NFL on YouTube, but I want to see the slow-mo here.
To the other.
He hits him, ball flies out, and I guess that's considered an interception. He was throwing it. Homeboy in here, 7, caught it, ran it back. Just an example of the Seahawk defense scoring. That was Super Bowl 60. Seahawks win. Who bet on the Patriots? You owe somebody money. So that was the game. But you know the drama, the controversy is always has to do with the halftime shows and the commercials. There's a big split for this halftime. If you're Latino, you probably like it. It's the culture and lifestyle of Puerto Rico. There was some guys grinding on each other in a car. What's the Bad Bunny delivers promised party, an energetic halftime show. Looked like they were all slaves working in fields. How they having a party in a dang sugar fields? Bad Bunny headlined Super Bowl halftime show for the first time, delivering on the promised party atmosphere he was looking to bring to the field. It was all in Spanish, by the way. I didn't know a single word to any of the songs. I don't know any of his songs. I don't know who this guy is. Bad Bunny. I am the Bad Bunny. But he said he wasn't going to perform if Trump was president. But he did. Liar. Among celebrity cameos, Ricky Martin, Lady Gaga, Pedro Pascal, Jessica Alba, Cardi B, and singer Karol G. I don't know who Karol G is. I know who all the rest of those are. Do I have watermelon slices on my shirt? Yes. This is the watermelon shirt. Happy Black History Month. This is the watermelon shirt. Commercials, we got a Dunkin' Donuts commercial that apparently people are talking about, and that's like the notable one. So first, let's look at this halftime. Just a clip.
The National Football
I can't
League
play a lot of
welcomes
this.
you to the Apple
But
Music
just for an example
Super
here.
Bowl 60 halftime show.
You know, I bet you the brothers are upset. It's Black History Month, and we're doing Latino History Month during the Super Bowl. Latino Heritage Month is September 15th to October 15th. Don't they know that? I don't know what he's saying. I need a translator. I need translation lyrics. You're freaking unhinged. And look, so I seen this in a short or like a reel that somebody had posted. And the guy's commentary was like, if you noticed that, then you're actually the gay one for noticing that because it only happened for one instant. But that's the point. It's like subliminal messaging. If I go to, it's right around 4 minutes. It's subliminal messaging, right? You see all these people grinding on each other, all these half-naked women grinding up on each other, and then there's just one quick flash of two guys humping each other. And it doesn't make, like, I might have not noticed it if I hadn't seen the short pop up on my feed, but it's still a subliminal message. It pops in your head. It's like a Fight Club. It's like a flash of something that you know is out of place, and you just notice it. Watch.
When a quarterback
there's a
runs,
commercial. There's a commercial. Hold on 1 second. See? Oh, I went right to it. There's two guys grinding on each other. See, it's just a flash. Maybe I wouldn't know that happened unless I had already seen a short where they talked about it. But the guy commenting in the short, he's like, bro, if you're talking about that and you noticed that, that means you're gay. Well, I only noticed it because you showed it to me. But still, if kids are watching the Super Bowl, that's an image that flashes into their head. It's a subliminal message. It's MK Ultra. It's Monarch Mind Control. They're turning the freaking kids gay. I mean, it's not like I'm listening to the words of the song. I gotta be watching the video. Anyway, I guess this is Lady Gaga. She was in another country dogging on Trump recently. We shouldn't have let her come back. Should have kept her over there. I think that Lady Gaga might be a man. Allegedly. She's so goofy looking. Anyway, ew. Gross. So while they're doing this, TPUSA did its all-American halftime show. And the critics are like, oh, people are mad they couldn't understand Bad Bunny, but they're going to listen to Kid Rock sing ba with da ba da bang diggy diggy. It's not like that's English either. Those are sounds. What's that called? An onomatopoeia? That's an onomatopoeia. That song is a classic, okay? Ratings battle. I think they're saying 133 million people were projected to watch the Super Bowl halftime show. 18 million were watching on YouTube live during the TPUSA one, which is crazy numbers, but I don't think it actually is going to beat the Super Bowl numbers. But what I'm more interested in seeing is like a bar graph where do the numbers dip during the halftime show? When normally in the Super Bowl, the numbers would pop up during the halftime show. Do they dip or do they rise comparative to other years? Or did a lot of people leave? Most people probably watching both. They're probably watching the Super Bowl on TV and they're watching the TPUSA one on their phone. So the ratings for the Super Bowl one might be a little skewed, but 18 million watching live on YouTube, that's crazy numbers. That's wild numbers. I don't know if that might be I think the biggest YouTube stream ever is like a soccer game. The Latinos, they love the soccer. They love to play the football. I had an acquaintance post, if you don't like the halftime show, you can eat tacos. You can eat some tacos. I do like tacos. I do enjoy a taco. Turning Point USA. Blah blah blah. Where's the numbers at? Anyway, I just said the numbers. 18.9 million watching live on YouTube. I think by now, what are the numbers? Whoa. Now the numbers are at 20 million since yesterday. But we'll look at a little bit of this. It was country. It's Americana. A little Americana in here. We got to make this show extra American. Real American. Extra American. And then who is this? What is this? Jewel? Who is this lady? I don't know country singers' names. What's this lady's name? I don't know this lady's name. That song's catchy, though. That's a catchy song. I just wanted to see Kid Rock. I didn't even watch it yet. Where's Kid Rock at? He's at... here we go. My name is Kid.
Kid Rock.
It doesn't look like a very big venue that they're in, though. Like, this looks like a small little room, standing room only. The crowd almost looks like AI. Like, I'm trying to watch the crowd. They don't really show you a lot of shots of the crowd. It's always from behind. See, the crowd's just like, it's not a big room. He didn't do the, my name is Kid. The Kid Rock Woodstock entrance was legendary. Will he jump out of from under the ground, Spider-Man?
My name is Kid. It's Kid, baby. Kid. Hey, don't quit. Hey, don't quit.
Fire, laser. This is America, okay? We got fire, we got lasers, we got Kid Rock. What more could you ask for?
And this is for the questions that don't have any answers. Midnight answers in the top dancers. Again, freeze the cars, ride the speedbird. The G's with the 40s and the chicks with beepers. The northern lights and the southern comfort. And it don't even matter if your veins are punctured. All crackheads, the critics, the cynics. And all my heroes in the methadone clinics. All you bastards in the IRS. The slaughter cookie cops and the corner death. The slaughter shots of Jack. And the caps from where the half lights of love. And the business dress. For my hookers all drinking out Hollywood.
That's American hookers drinking in Hollywood. That's American as apple pie right there.
For my hoods of the world, it's understood. I say it's all good, yeah, it's all in fun. Never get back, try to love someone.
Okay, that's all I'm gonna show with that. All right, that song just gets your dang blood racing. Better than better Macarena, Tony win better hey you got to be no better hey Macarena, hey Macarena. That was so much better. So that's the halftime stuff. Very Latino Super Bowl show at a time when we're deporting a bunch of Latinos. It's like they do it just to make the left more pissed off. You know, they just want to make it even worse. So that's the halftime shows, the game. Last thing is the commercials. I don't know. We can't like sit here and watch all these. I don't have time for that. But this is the top 10 Super Bowl commercials. I haven't seen any of them yet. I'm not mad that he was lip syncing. They said he was lip syncing, but I don't think he was totally lip syncing because you could see when he was editing out words out, he was kind of cutting away for certain words. But they said he was lip syncing, but you know, he was also, you also hear his voice too. So it's probably both. Commercials. Did anybody watch it where the commercials all gay? I started watching the beginning of this one, and this looks actually pretty funny.
What are you doing?
That's Ben Affleck. Look, they got Carlton from Fresh Prince.
Smooth.
Don't you have a girlfriend?
It's funny. It's like Friends mixed with Fresh Prince mixed with Seinfeld. They're in the diner from Seinfeld. They got Carlton and Will there.
We're on a break!
Welcome to Watch Mojo.
Aw, they're not going to show the whole commercial?
According to this Super Bowl commercial, he snatches snakes during his spare time. Yet when his wife, model and actress Elsa Pataki, installs Alexa Plus, the Thor actor is naturally skeptical. To be fair,
they're not going to show the commercials. They're just going to talk about them. What the?
Little to the left. Whoa.
I have a commercial while we're watching commercials. What the? Okay.
he's also seen his fair share of sci-fi horror films, listing the various. When we heard Emma Stone and Yorgos Lanthimos were making a Super Bowl commercial, we feared they'd gone, well, commercial. From the opening shot of this
She's an actress. She is commercial. What are you talking about?
black and white Squarespace ad, though, it is clear that we're in store for another trip. The Oscar-winning actress attempts to register a website in her name, only to repeatedly find the domain taken. With every failed attempt, she destroys another laptop. It's not like
Wow, looks like a great commercial. I missed out. I missed out on this one.
she's strapped for cash, living in a mansion on an isolated island. That's just one of the many surreal choices, from the constant close-ups to the delivery girl on roller skates. With the
Okay, thanks, Watch Mojo. That commercial looks lame.
I'm just a guy. But when I use my Bosch appliances, I feel like more than just a guy.
At first glance, this may seem like an ordinary Super Bowl ad centered on an
He turned into Guy Fieri.
ordinary guy.
That's dumb.
The instant he makes contact with a Bosch refrigerator, though, he becomes so much more than just a guy. He unleashes his
Why is Guy Fieri playing with power tools, though? Is this Ben Stiller?
The fact that so much about this Spike Jonze-directed commercial is out of sync is part of what makes it so humorous. Stiller and Boone play an Italian pop duo whose performance begins to
Hey, it looks like Dwight. Was it Dwight from Dodgeball?
unpeel due to sibling rivalry. Coming from a music background, Boone is naturally the more seasoned of
See Benson Boone do his flips in person.
Seeing him do these flips, did it make you want to at all get in on the action, even a little bit?
Not at all.
Gary will prove time.
Just play the commercial. What the heck?
No, we go again.
Number 5.
Okay, Ben Stiller's funny. He might have been eating some pizza with Jerry Seinfeld, though.
The dots. Will
Raisin
Shat has
Bran
made it his
commercial.
duty to
William Shatner's in a Raisin Bran commercial.
deliver fiber where it's needed most. Along the way, he even encounters a Shih Tzu named Will.
Is that dog a Shih Tzu? Perfect.
The spot manages to say exactly what we're thinking without actually saying it. It boldly goes where no Super Bowl ad has gone before, raising the bar for poop puns.
They're all AI. Are they all AI?
Will shot on the car.
Number 3. The Choice.
Oh, we got a Pepsi Coca-Cola commercial with the bear.
Pepsi. For decades, we've associated animated polar bears with Coca-Cola. Of course, it's not
Wow. Pepsi creeping in and stealing the polar bear? What is this? How did they get rights to the polar bear? Them things are going extinct. There's not enough to divide them between Coca-Cola and Pepsi.
as if Coke can copyright an entire species. This allowed Pepsi to feature polar bears in this Taika Waititi ad, which revisits the long-standing cola wars.
I want to break free.
The Super Bowl once again serves as a
Pepsi is better than Coke, though, not gonna lie.
battleground, but this ad felt especially personal with a polar bear switching teams. Following a blind taste test,
He
the bear
goes to the psychologist. He's got to talk about his depression from realizing that he's changed sides.
questions everything, even seeking help from Dr. Waititi. Enduring an identity crisis, the bear comes to accept his new favorite soda along with his mate. When they're caught on camera at the big game, the bears choose not to hide their choice, breaking free in front of millions. A clever ad that
Wow. Wow. That's great. This is the one I want to see, though. They got everybody in here.
When you're 50, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
Isn't that your girl?
Oh, they're not at the Seinfeld. But they got Urkel in here. They're not at the Seinfeld restaurant. They're at a Dunkin' Donuts. But there's George.
Friend?
Jason Alexander brings that Costanza energy, but with more hair. Matt LeBlanc is doing his Joey shtick. Jasmine Guy enters a very different world.
Who's she? She's the sister from Fresh Prince? There's Carlton and Urkel.
Alfonso Ribeiro finds himself in a most unusual situation. Jaleel White is looking more Stefan than Urkel, and Ted Danson ignites a big cheer. Ben also trades one Jennifer for another, although she's found a Brady'er donut. They were on a break anyway.
You like donuts?
Yeah.
I got his number. How about them donuts?
Well, this is my new boyfriend. How you like these nuts?
Oh, wow. She said these nuts. Is that Brady? Is that Tom Brady? with a goofy-ass 70s haircut?
I'm Tom.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable
Oh, then there's got to be a butt-focused ad For all the gays out there that like big butts and they cannot lie.
Mentions. Backstory, Levi's. Are we the only ones who thought this was a Toy Story
Look at Woody's butt.
5 ad at first?
Get up off that thing! You better!
Yep.
Get up!
Told you, it's a gay psyop. It's a gay psyop.
Off that thing! You better!
Hungry for the truth, Uber Eats. Matthew McConaughey harasses Bradley Cooper with some help from Parker Posey.
Matthew McConaughey.
Take a closer look, Mr. Bradley. Tell me, what do you see?
Pro Football
And Bradley Cooper.
Hall of Fame?
It's a juicer.
What?
The Hall of Fame's a juicer, Bradley.
It's a juicer. What is this, Breaking Bad?
Ring the bell to
No, this is just the end. Is this the last one?
Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum reprised their iconic roles for a weekend of selfies
Jurassic
with the
Park.
T-Rex, jogging alongside Gallimimus and chowing down on piles of shrimp. Just as Dr. Grant praises John Hammond's creation, the commercial has our endorsement.
Hey, little guy. Nope.
This is the legacy sequel we deserve. Speaking of which, can Xfinity do anything about Snickers wrappers getting stuck indoors?
I've seen this commercial already. See, this commercial's on YouTube. A lot of times they just put commercials on the Super Bowl that have been running on YouTube for like months already. I wasn't watching the butts.
Which Super Bowl ad gets you?
Oh, that's not a commercial. That's from the Jurassic Park movie. The newest movie. That's what happens. Anyway, so those are the commercials. That was fun. They looked all right. Nothing too subversive. Except for that butt commercial.
When reporting.
Okay. Now we're going to go to this Trump's racist tweet about the monkeys. What's Guardian and CNN? All the headlines is Trump shifts blame to aide as he refuses to apologize for racist video of Obama's. Now, I didn't even know until I watched the whole thing that it's not like he just posted them looking like monkeys. It was a video about election fraud. And at the end, there's like the next video in the feed is that, and they're still recording, so it skips to the next video and it starts to play that. And Trump says, nobody on my team noticed. If they would have watched, they would have noticed, but they didn't notice. I think he should have doubled down and just been like, yeah, I think it was a great troll at the end of an important video. That's what he should have said. And just posted the full video up. The full video, Crowder has them all here. I'm going to find them in his thing and just, we'll steal it from him because he's compiled it all. Let me see. Well, here's what Dean Withers is saying. Trump just posted an incredibly racist photo of the Obama's faces photoshopped on the body of apes. Every day is a new rock bottom for this ugly pig. He called him a pig, but he can't call other animals, other people animals. Where's the... Okay, so Crowder has what CNN played and what the news stations played. Then he's got the full video. So first, this is what the news stations played. There were no gorillas in The Lion King. Yeah, it wasn't. There was also no Obamas in The Lion King. There was also no Joe Biden in The Lion King. A lot of those animals weren't in The Lion King. Genius. And also, Rafiki is a baboon. Would you rather baboons? Would baboons be better? Biden is in that video as an orangutan. There's no orangutans in The Lion King either. Or Biden is white, and he's a monkey in that video. So, you think Trump is actually a lion? Really? Genius. We have some genius people in the audience.
Version that the news clips, okay?
Here's the news one.
That favored Joe Biden.
Okay.
And that's all it is. It's 1 second at the end of the video. The full video is all about election fraud, though. And I think that's the what they want to distract people from. They don't, because Trump is doing the criminal case against Fulton right now to get all the election results from 2020 turned over. He's looking into things. He's bringing up, he's turning over some old stones. And I think that's what they don't want you to pay attention to. So they point you to the mistakenly left in 1 second of Gorilla Obamas. But the full commercial is important. Here it is.
Initiated by a court order, the Michigan investigation team obtained forensic access to a DS200 tabulator, the machine that counts the votes.
This is pretty boring.
4G wireless chip manufactured
The tune is in the back of your mind already. I know it.
Into the motherboard.
Wait for it.
The voting machine tapes clearly indicate modem engagement and transmission of election data.
Wait for it.
Some of the anomalies that we noticed in the 2020
But this video is important. More so than the stupid clip at the end.
general elections, that 5 key states all stopped counting at the circuit.
And then we're going to show the bar graph skyrocket. Wasn't that crazy? We're going to stop counting, and then the bar goes straight up to where Biden's winning.
Certain time in these key battleground states. These were all where the software, Dominion machines, ESNS machines were used, the Smartmatic, the GEMS software. So when the vote stopped counting, and this has been noted in other countries as well,
boom,
President Trump was significantly ahead. When reporting and counting resumed, there was a massive spike occurred that favored Joe Biden.
It's 1 second. But he's got the full video. So the full video was this. And so what happens is that video plays, and then the next video just starts playing on the feed. So whatever Trump aide posted this had an awesome feed, and that was just the next video in his feed started playing. And he didn't edit it out, which is a mistake. That don't look good, but I think it's funny. People don't have a sense of humor anymore. Let's see the full video. Chimpanzee has 3 arms and wings. And people and dumbasses are like, oh, there's not even monkeys in the Lion King. It's not the exact Lion King. That would be copyright. It's just jungle animals and jungle music, and Trump is a lion walking around. This monkey has wings. Hillary's a warthog, and Cory Booker is a meerkat. AOC and Newsom are donkeys, or a donkey and some sort of antelope or something. There's no donkey in Lion King. Yeah, retard. Nobody. What's that matter? JB Pritzker is a freaking elephant, and not Schumer. Can't remember this dude's name, but he's a giraffe.
Pritzker looks good.
Mamdani. That was Schumer. Chuck Schumer.
See, come on.
And Biden just pulled a banana. Biden is a baboon. Biden is Rafiki. Kamala's a turtle, and Biden pulled a banana out of Kamala's backside. Down at the bottom. Yeah, so everybody's different animals. They're all jungle animals. And Biden is white, and he's a monkey. He's a baboon. It's so dumb. Trump shifts blame. So they asked Trump about it, and he's like, it was one of my staffers, one of my aides. I don't know. I didn't do it. If anybody would watch it, they would have known. I'll play it in a second, but I just like the headlines from The Guardian, CNN. Trump won't apologize for sharing since deleted racist video depicting Obamas as apes on True Social. No, I'm not going to subscribe. I have to subscribe to get CNN now? Nuh-uh. We're out of free articles from CNN? Dang, you know how hard it is to run out of articles on CNN? I've been using CNN for like 4 years. We're out of articles. Donald Trump said on Friday he made the call to post a now deleted video depicting Barack and Michelle Obama as apes, but deflected blame for the move, causing new speculation in his orbit about whether the blame lay with the president or his aide, Natalie Harp. Oh, poor Natalie. Natalie gonna get fired. The brief clip shared late Thursday night on Trump's True Social account appeared in a video pushing conspiracies about the 2020 election, invoking racist tropes. The video depicted the Obama's faces superimposed on the bodies of cartoon apes dancing to The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Speaking later, reporters on Air Force One, Trump claimed he had briefly seen part of the video, but then handed it off to an unidentified staffer to post. Trump said he would not fire the staffer in question, but would not apologize because he did not make the mistake. Let's see what he's saying right here.
The post that you took down earlier today, the White House says that a staffer sent it. Who sent it, and are you going to fire
I looked
them?
at it. No, I looked at it. I saw it, and I just looked at the first part. It was about voter fraud in someplace, Georgia. There was a lot of voter fraud, 2020 voter fraud, and I didn't see the whole thing. I guess during the end of it, there was some kind of a picture that people don't like. I wouldn't like it either, but I didn't see it. I looked at the first part, and it was really about voter fraud in and the machines, how crooked it is, how disgusting it is. Then I gave it to the people. Generally, they'd look at the whole thing, but I guess somebody didn't. And they posted, and we took it down, and we turned it, But that was a voter fraud that nobody talks about. They don't like to talk about that post. We took it down as soon as we found out about it.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans are calling on you to apologize for that post. Is that something you're going to do?
No, I didn't make a mistake. I mean, I look at a lot of thousands of things,
I scroll a lot. I'm just always scrolling through my phone, and I thought, this is interesting. Voter fraud. Post it, run it, clip it, and ship it. We just didn't watch it till the end. I don't have a lot of time. Sometimes I scroll before the video's over.
Looked at the beginning of it. It was fine.
He's a coward for not apologizing. You're an idiot.
They had that one post, and I guess it was a takeoff. By the way, a lot of people covered. If you look at...
You're a coward if you're offended by a funny video for 1 second. If that offends you, you're a cowardly person. If you even think that this is a big deal or you care, are you gonna... The president's a coward because he posted a video that had a funny thing at the end of it, and then he didn't apologize for it? Yeah, that's real cowardly. The coward is the one calling him out for something so stupid.
Where it came from, I guess it was a takeoff on The Lion King. And
I did see it.
Was, a very strong post in terms of voter fraud. Nobody knew that was at the end. If they would have looked, they would have seen it. And probably they would have had the sense to take it down. But that was a takeoff.
He saw it afterwards, after it posted. Then somebody said, and he's like, oh, I didn't notice that. That's funny, though. He said he saw it after. It's funny. You don't know. I doubt he probably even saw the video in the first place. All right. Oh my God, this dude in the chat's being retarded. Anyway, speaking of Trump, gorillas, Black History Month. Trump claims no one could understand the bad, but let's tie it back to the halftime show and Trump being a racist. A slap in the face to our country. I couldn't understand. It was all in Spanish. I didn't know one word to it. But then there's video of him at his halftime party, and they're listening to the halftime show, and they're like, see, he did watch it. It was playing on a TV at the at his halftime party. President Donald Trump his Super Bowl party has slammed Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show appearance as An affront to the greatness of America. The Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible. One of the worst ever. It makes no sense. Is an affront to the greatness of America and doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. There was two guys grinding on each other in a car. I didn't like it. Kind of gay. Trump's rant comes as Turning Point USA's All-American Super Bowl halftime show headlined by Kid Rock garnered roughly 4 million views. 4 million? It had like 18 million. I believe at one point it had that many live viewers across different platforms. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I'm sick. So that's all the, Trump's a racist. He doesn't like Spanish halftime shows, and he posts pictures of Barack and Michelle as gorillas during Black History Month. Very racist. Very, very racist. That's that. Last thing is this Clinton story, but I got to get more water. My throat is itching me. Hold on one second. I'll be quick. I'm going to have to get some Dayquil. Okay. So, last thing here. So, this was a closed door hearing. They had the Clintons at I guess it was like a Congress hearing, or the House Oversight Committee hearing. And it was a closed door hearing, so we don't know what went on. But now Bill is asking for the future of the trial to be held publicly, because he says he's got nothing to hide and he wants to answer all the questions publicly about the Epstein files, so that the parties can stop using him as like a, well, look at who's in the files. It's Clinton, it's Clinton, it's Clinton. And he said for both the Democrats and the Republicans who are saying stuff like that, he wants to do an open public hearing. So that's interesting. Well, Billy got something to say. Publicly. Former President Bill, this is from ABC, former President Bill Clinton in a series of social media posts on Friday made a renewed push for a public hearing as part of the House Oversight Committee's probe into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. They're probing Jeffrey Epstein. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton did the same earlier this week. I have called for the release of the Epstein files. I have provided a sworn statement of what I know. And just this week, I've agreed to appear in person before the committee. That's not a very good Clinton, huh? He is from Arkansas, so it's a little country. Old sounding. But it's still not enough for the Republicans on the House Oversight Committee. Bill Clinton wrote on X, I will not sit idly as they use me as a prop in a closed-door kangaroo court by a Republican Party running scared. If they want answers, let's stop the games and do this the right way in a public hearing where the American people can see for themselves what this is really about. Now, I don't know what's going to come from this. Guardian, more of the same. Clinton's call for their Epstein testimony to be held publicly. Bill Clinton says closed-door depositions would be akin to kangaroo court, as Hillary Clinton says they have already told the House committee what they know. But is she asking for it to be public also? And his wife Hillary are calling for their congressional testimony on ties to convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein to be held publicly to prevent Republicans from politicizing the issue. Both Clintons had been ordered to give closed-door depositions before the House Representative Oversight Committee, which is investigating the deceased financier's connections to powerful figures and how information about his crimes was handled. Democrats say the probe is being weaponized to attack political opponents of President Donald Trump, himself a longtime Epstein associate who has not been called to testify, rather than to conduct legitimate oversight. So I don't know. We'll see if it happens publicly or not. If you want this fight, let's have it in public. That's what Clinton said. If you want this fight, let's have it in public. I don't know. If you watch the congressional hearing when Nick Shirley went, well, there was another one I was listening to, but they're talking about Minnesota fraud, and then the Fry doesn't show up, Waltz doesn't show up, and the guy that does show up on behalf of Michigan, he just diverts and goes to talking about ICE and Renee Good and Alex Preddy, and the dude holding the hearing is like, I think it was Rubio. He's like, what does any of that have to do with Minnesota fraud? We're here to we're doing a hearing about the fraud in Minnesota, and all you're doing is talking about ICE and Trump. Orange man bad, Trump is mean, ICE is bad, they're killing people. What does any of that have to do with the fraud? So these hearings, even if the Clintons do show up and they do it publicly, all it's going to be is whataboutisms from them. They're not going to answer questions straight. They're going to dodge questions and obfuscate and divert attention and, point the finger at somebody else. So I don't think much is going to come from this hearing anyway, but it would be interesting if they do it publicly. I think I have one video here talking about it.
I'm national correspondent Kayla Gaskins in Washington. Former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton have reached a last-minute deal with House Republicans to testify before Congress, avoiding potential contempt charges.
The House Oversight Committee says Bill Clinton will appear for a transcribed.
Gosh, he's looking old. It looks like a demon. He's got demon eyes. He's got lifeless demon eyes. He's got that dang. He's been drinking that dang baby lifeblood. This guy's gonna live forever. His eyes look like the eyes of that dude. The guy who's do you think the Jews wanted poor people? Or I don't want to get on an airplane. Who's that guy? I can't no. Y'all know who I'm talking about. The old preacher guy, the mega church guy. Anyway, why can't I think of his name right now? Now it's bugging me.
Filmed deposition on February 27th, with Hillary Clinton scheduled to testify a day earlier on the 26th. The appearances meet a new deadline imposed by Republican leadership.
We're going to ask questions I think 99% of all Americans want to know, their relationship, the knowledge.
Hillary Clinton advisor Nick Merrill writing on social media, at the 11th hour, James Comer asked for a camera. That's fine. He can have 1,000 cameras. The Clintons will do this publicly. Records show Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House at least 17 times during President Clinton's first term. Flight logs also indicate Bill Clinton traveled on Epstein's private jet in the early 2000s, though documents released more recently state Epstein said Clinton never visited his private island. All of those interactions occurred before Epstein's 2008 conviction. President Trump also had an acquaintance.
It's so cloudy because even Epstein has emails in there talking about how you could send yourself fake emails or send fake tips in to distract them and divert them. So even in his emails, Epstein is teaching other people about how they can write fake emails to people to make things look how they want it to look, to paint the narrative how they need it to be painted. So if anything gets investigated, it either distracts or it points the feds in the wrong direction. And if there's so much fake stuff in there, you don't know what the real stuff is. Epstein talks about that in the Epstein files.
With Epstein during that period.
Why are Republicans so interested in Bill and Hillary Clinton? It's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times.
There are some Democrats
they're trying to distract. That's like autism voice. I never seen an Asian with the tism.
Who support having the Clintons testify.
We want to talk to anybody who has information that can advance our investigation. We don't care whether they're Republicans, Democrats, independents, doesn't matter. President Clinton should come in and talk.
Chairman Comer insists testimony from both Bill and Hillary Clinton remains critical to understanding Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking network, the ways Epstein sought to curry favor and influence to evade scrutiny, and how Congress can strengthen laws to better combat human trafficking.
Neither Bill nor Hillary.
All right. So we'll see what comes of that. So far, we don't know anything. Everything they've said so far is being kept under wraps, but they're saying they want it public. They're not afraid to do the hearing and do it public. So hopefully we'll find out. We'll keep our eye on it. But that's it for all the biggest stories this week. Now, one of the stories in Rapid Fire, it probably could be in main story news. This is pretty crazy. But the Guthrie, is it Samantha Guthrie? Her mom got kidnapped. Kidnapping an old lady. That's sad. We're gonna look at that. The ransom note. We're like a week in, unless there's been an update and they found her. As far as I know, this morning they hadn't found her yet. So we'll look at that in Rapid Fire. But first, we got some funny little reels to watch. And before we get back into the craziness of the news. And then at the end, we'll wrap up. We're gonna look at an old Greek philosophical paradox, Zeno's paradox. It's an interesting one. But first, let me open this. Okay. All right. Let's watch some funny reels. This is an old Game Boy ad. I would have folded for Game Boy, Mom, so fast. This is an ad they used to run to teach kids not to get into the car with strangers. And they used Game Boy in it. And look at this. This is, okay, so you're a kid and you're watching this commercial and they're telling you not to get in the car with strangers. Just think about it.
Forms, but there are you've already been told about strangers dressing up in uniforms, but there are other traps you need to know about.
Hi, I'm just playing with my daughter's video game, but the batteries seem to be dead. I have some in my car. Why don't you come over and help me put them in?
Game Boy Mom? Game Boy Mom is fine. Wait, this is... Yo, if this lady's asking me to get in her car and play her Game Boy, I'm getting kidnapped. Take me to the basement, wherever you're... Please, ma'am.
Put them in.
There goes my hero.
I'm jumping in that car, boy. Game Boy Mom could get it. Okay, what else we got? Oh, Black History Month. This girl trying to move this. These guys trying to move this refrigerator down some stairs.
Finish her! Get over here!
Where'd she go? Her life is no more. Where is she? She's underneath it.
This nigga dead. Fatality. Finish her!
You hear the song? Listen to the words of the song. This good dead. And then this guy's about to fall off the side too.
Get over here! Oh, shit. This nigga dead.
All three of them. The one fell down the side. Hold on. She goes off the side. He's dangling over the side, and she just disappears underneath it.
Get over here! Oh, shit. This nigga dead. Oh. Fatality. Finish her.
Okay, enough of that. And lastly, I just found this guy yesterday. This is pretty awesome. I like what he does, and he's got tons of these, and he's really good at it. Assuming it's not AI and he's doing this for real. I think it's real. This is pretty cool. I'm not going to play this all, but at least till the beat changes. Wait till it speeds up. Here we go.
Nigga got me fucked.
want to bring darkness into this. Yeah, that is pretty cool. Okay. He's got a bunch of them. He did the Mortal Kombat. He does a lot of good ones. But anyway, that's that. Okay, let's go through these rapid fire news stories real quick. This Guthrie case is crazy. So she's been missing for more than a week now. This is Nancy Guthrie. Her daughter is a Good Morning America affiliate or something, or reporter. I forgot her. Oh man, CNN's not going to let me read articles anymore. That's crazy. Family says we will pay. So ransom note details emerge. Guthrie's purported abductor or abductors are demanding $6 million by 5 p.m. on Monday. Well, it's Monday, and it's 7:30. What happened? CNN affiliate KGUN reported the note includes a threat to Guthrie's life if the deadline isn't met. It added, citing a letter sent to the station. Family says we will pay. Nancy Guthrie's children posted a new plea for their missing mother's return on social media today, with Today host Savannah Guthrie saying we will pay $6 million. We got to get Granny back. Who abducts an old lady? That's crazy. It's got to be somebody they know, right? There's been a second note. Officials continue investigating the second note. They're still looking into the authenticity of a second note sent to CNN affiliate KOLD on Friday. The note, which mentioned no deadline, included sensitive information, according to an anchor. So if there's sensitive information, that shows that it's probably valid. It's probably a legit note there. But so we're in the second week of her being missing.
This morning,
is pretty
the
crazy.
urgent search for Nancy Guthrie is into its second week. On Sunday, investigators returned to her home from where they say she was taken against her will more than a week ago. In a video posted over the
Look like
weekend,
Arizona.
daughter Savannah Guthrie told potential captors she and her siblings are willing to pay for their mother's return.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Law enforcement sources told
Dude, I feel like I've been to this house before. This looks like it's either Arizona or New Mexico.
ABC News she was referring to a
like
message
El
sent
Paso.
Friday to a Tucson television station. The
Tucson,
FBI
Arizona.
and Pima
I've
County
been there.
Sheriff's
I've been to
Department
this
said
house.
They were analyzing it, but have
I've
not
knocked on the door of that
determined
house.
its
I know it.
authenticity.
I think what they're trying to do is gently push the abductors to finish this deal.
The FBI has not said whether any of the messages from the supposed kidnappers are credible, but they are taking them seriously. An earlier message made demands for Bitcoin and established two deadlines, one last week and another deadline today. Over the weekend, investigators were also spotted at
I'm
the
gonna look and
nearby
see if there's
home
if
of
they
Savannah's
paid the-
sister Annie. Earlier, they examined cameras on the roof of Nancy's house and knocked on the doors of her neighbors. The sheriff's department says this remains an active and ongoing investigation. Detectives and agents continue to conduct follow-up at multiple locations. But after a full week of searching, they still have not identified any suspects, persons of interest, or vehicles connected to this case.
Amen, amen.
During a weekend service streamed on Facebook, parishioners at Nancy Guthrie's church, who first noticed her absence, said prayers for her safe return.
We pray for Nancy's rescue and her release.
So I'm looking at updates right now. 3 hours ago, family acknowledges deadline. Nancy Guthrie search enters its second week as purported deadline looms. I guess the deadline came and went. Savannah Guthrie urges mom's return as ransom deadline expires. So did they pay, or we're at an hour of desperation? We beg you now for the return of our mother so that we can celebrate with her. This is what we just watched. So I don't know if they paid or what. FBI not aware of communication between Guthrie family and suspected killers. The FBI is not aware of any continued communication, so I'm guessing they didn't pay her or pay for her. That's wild. Usually it's, kidnapping, not old lady napping. Sorry. Okay, so that's that. I guess there's no... I thought maybe when I would wake up, there would be some... She dead? That's very likely. That's very likely. What else we got in rapid fire? Billie Eilish. Nobody's illegal on stolen land. Her little Grammy speech is getting a little bit of a reaction. Local tribe says Billie Eilish's LA mansion sits on their stolen land. They want their land back. She's on stolen land. What's it, like an $8 million house? $3 million house. The Tongva tribe says Billie Eilish's $3 million mansion sits directly on their ancestral land. She's on stolen land. As grateful as I feel, I honestly don't feel like I need to say anything, but that no one is illegal on stolen land. Okay, well, you're on stolen land. And fuck ICE. Turns out Eilish lives on a $3 million mansion. Turns out the mansion is surrounded by high walls. Turns out she has not turned her stolen land to the Tongva tribe, and they would like a word. We appreciate the opportunity to provide clarity regarding the recent comments made by Billie Eilish. As the first people of the greater Los Angeles basin, we do understand that her home is situated in our ancestral land. Eilish has not contacted our tribe directly regarding her property. We do value the instance when public figures provide visibility to the true history of this country. It is our hope that in future discussions, the tribe can explicitly be referenced to ensure the public understands that the greater Los Angeles basin remains Gabrielino Tongva territory. The propaganda of no borders on stolen land is a nonsense phrase meant to shame America into committing suicide by opening our borders to the third world. Eilish doesn't care about an invasion. She sits safely behind the privileged high walls and would probably like all that cheap third world labor to take care of her massive estate. So the Tongva tribe wants their land back. And then there was a thing going around that this legal group had posted a thing saying that they would handle the land transfer back to the tribe for free. Snopes says fact check. This was false. It was a joke. That's what they came out and said. But the post said, real estate lawyer for immediate release. Sinai law firm is offering to evict Billie Eilish from her Los Angeles home on a pro bono basis on behalf of the Tongva tribe. Sinai law firm is the premier eviction firm in the country. Now, it says false because they posted this and then they came out and they said it was just a joke. They can't actually evict her. But the tribe wants their land back. So, Billy, get those people their land back. What are you doing? Steps out. Billie Eilish steps out amid calls she give her $3 million home back to native tribe after ICE remarks. So, you got to give up that land, Billy. All right, that's that. Kamala's starting a podcast, so she had a big announcement that she was making on her website. Oh, crap. What just happened? Big announcement. She said she had a big announcement on her campaign site. And it was like, is she announcing that she's running again? She hasn't announced that she's running again. She said she's moving towards a possible run again, but right now she's starting a podcast. The Kamala Harris, the Democrat platform's podcast for young Democratic American voices, relaunching her campaign account as a Gen Z-led progressive content hub. Her decision not to run for California governor was seen as a sign she plans to run for the 2028 election cycle. The account, now dubbed HQ and Headquarters 67, she put 6'7" in it. A possible reference to the 6'7" meme, shared a video with the caption, "Welcome to Headquarters, the new Gen Z-led progressive content hub." This is going to be Freddie's favorite new YouTube channel. He's really going to like this one. Let's watch the commercial she put out. Hopefully there's no ad. They're going to play
College shouldn't bury you in debt.
In a move to spark more 2028 speculation, former Vice President Kamala Harris on Thursday relaunched her Kamala HQ social media presence used during her 2024 White House run as an online organizing project for Next Generation campaign. She learned from her first run that you got to win by reaching the young people, and the way you do that is with podcasts. So she's going to start a Gen Z progressive podcast platform. Wow, it's going to be some great content on here. Let's watch.
I have good news. So Kamala HQ is turning into headquarters, and it's where you can go online to get basically the latest of what's going on, and also to meet and revisit with some of our great, courageous leaders, be they elected leaders, community leaders, civic leaders, faith leaders, young leaders. I'm really excited about it. So stay engaged, and I'll see you out there. Thank you.
Yeah, wow, it looks super exciting.
College shouldn't bury you in debt.
Super exciting. I can't wait. Oh my God, I got to sneeze again. Dr. Cornel West, get a podcast. I'll watch it. She looked like the Joker. She is. She's wearing the Joker suit. That's what somebody else said. She does look like the Joker. All right, we got a sad story here, but a little bit of a conspiracy maybe. What happened here? What's the situation? Body of rapper Lil Jon's son found in Georgia pond days after he went missing. So he went missing, and then they find him just dead in a pond. Now, does this mean he tried to go for a swim? Maybe he was intoxicated. He tried to go for a swim. Bad idea. You know, happy Black History Month, but that's a bad idea. Or did somebody like kill him and drop him in the pond? But they're saying there's no foul play. They're saying there's no evidence of foul play. So what's going on here? Nathan Smith, who goes by the name DJ Young Slade, was reported missing Tuesday morning after he was last seen running out of his home in Milton. Running out of his home. What do they mean running out of his home? Like going for a jog or like got in a fight with somebody and ran out? When they say running out of his home, to me, that implies that like there was some sort of argument or something. The medical examiner's office will make the official confirmation and will determine the cause and manner of death. Body was located in a pond near the residence. We extend our deepest condolences to the Smith family during this difficult time. The department respectfully asks the community and members of the media to honor the family's request for privacy. In the statement on Instagram, the Turn Down for What rapper, whose real name is Jonathan Smith, confirmed the news of his son's death. I am extremely heartbroken, for the tragic loss of our son. What? Nathan Smith. Sorry, that's not nice. Okay. His mother, Nicole Smith, and I are devastated. Lil Jon wrote, Nathan was the kindest human being you'd ever meet. He was immensely caring, thoughtful, polite, passionate, and warm-hearted. He loved his family and friends in his life to the fullest. I'm just wondering what happened. Did he get murdered? Did he just try to go for a late night swim? Here's him and his son performing. Either way, it's sad, but it seems like you fucked up. It's a mystery. No, it's a mystery. I'm trying to solve the mystery. No, I'm actually curious, like, what happened? That's crazy. Last time I heard of a black guy being found dead in a pond, it was behind Obama's house. Remember that? And I don't know. I think that we never found out what happened with that either. Whatever happened to that guy? We just forgot about the dude who died in like 4 feet deep of water, who was a professional swimmer, who was a chef for the Obamas, winds up dead behind their house in like 4 feet of water. and he was a college swimmer. He was black, and he was a college professional swimmer. He knew how to swim. But what happened with that? I don't know. The Barry's out here murdering a guy. Who are the murderers?
Who are the murderers? Yeah.
The Obamas. They murdered a guy. You know? So that's that. We'll keep our eye on that and see if any new details emerge. And then Jake Lang arrested. Dude, either Jake Lang is just super based or he's a Fed. I think there's a high likelihood that this dude's just a Fed. Especially when he's doing so they have video of him doing like a Roman salute at a protest. But of course he waits till they're like in safety. They're driving a U-Haul truck through an ICE protest, and they're throwing bags of ice on the ground behind them, which is pretty funny because if the people are all following with cameras and yelling at them and stuff, and they're throwing ice on the ground, it's not like snow, it's ice cubes, and that would be very slippery. So they were probably slipping and falling all over the ice. But as the U-Haul gets to the end of the thing and there's no people around and they're closing the door, he opens the door real quick and he throws out 2 Romans, and everybody was outraged by that. But it's like, okay, what are you doing? Like, no balls. You did it when everybody was way far behind you. And it's like, what are you doing? You're just trying to trigger people. And I don't know. I don't know if he's like based an epic troll or if he's a Fed, but he kicked over this Johnny Knoxville. He kicked over this ice sculpture in front of the Minnesota State Capitol, and they took him to jail. He had a protest planned, but they banned him from the Capitol property. So they ended up having his protest somewhere else. But a few people who were, going to meet at his protest went over to the Capitol, and there were counter protesters there, and a fight broke out. So I don't know. He almost seems like he's a Fed, like he's just pushing us towards some sort of civil war, some sort of accelerationist. Jake Lang is facing felony charge for allegedly damaging a sculpture that said "Prosecute ICE" at the Minnesota State Capitol. You also shouldn't be allowed to put up art installments like that with political messaging on government property, because if you'll do it, this is the same thing I said when they were painting BLM murals on government property, on state taxpayer funded government property, streets. We had a big Black Lives mural memorial at our city county building on the street. And I was like, if my taxpayer money is going for you to promote political messages like rainbow flags, trans flags, BLM on our government property that we pay for, then I should be able to petition for a Trump 2028 or a Christ is King monument, memorial, art installment, some sort of, display. And if I get the petition, you should do it and pay for it. If you don't, then you're being biased on which political messages you allow, and then I can sue you. So instead of breaking down their Prosecute ICE sculpture, instead get all your people, all your followers together, petition them to put up a We Love ICE sculpture. And if they say no, then sue them. They can't selectively pick and choose what political art installments they're going to allow on their property. Once they open that area up for displays like that, then you can put one up too. And if they deny you, then sue them. Let's see what they're talking about here.
This stunt here in Minnesota.
Jake Lang was booked into the Ramsey County Jail yesterday after the 30-year-old posted a video to social media. It showed himself destroying an ice sculpture just hours after it was unveiled at the state capitol. And here's what the sculpture.
Look, it was going to melt anyway.
Sculpture looked like. Lawmakers and veterans and community leaders. And
yeah, I know they had a permit. Did you not listen to anything I just said? God, so dumb.
Unveiled it more than 20-foot-long frozen statement earlier in the day.
I know they have a permit. That's why I said he should petition, and then once you have enough signatures, he should request that he get a permit to put up his own art installment like that there. And they can't say no. That's the point I just made.
Creation. It read, prosecute ICE. Authorities say this was a permitted display at the state capitol. Lang left the scene in a vehicle, but State Patrol says he was pulled over by a trooper and arrested. He was booked on suspicion of criminal damage to property. One of the organizers of the ICE sculpture sent us a statement saying in part, quote, I gave 8 years of my life in service to this country, to the military. For a January 6th insurrectionist to destroy our display is an attack on the First Amendment veterans like me fought to defend.
Gay.
Lang was pardoned by the president last year.
6:06 right now.
Okay. Here's a video of him.
New at 6, right-wing activist
kicking
Jake
it over.
Lang.
It's so funny, too, because first he, like, stumbles and he's like, oh, shit. And then he, like, starts kicking it again and he's just like, nah.
Was booked into the Ramsey County Jail tonight after kicking over this ICE sculpture in front of the Minnesota State Capitol. It read, prosecute ICE, and was commissioned by a group representing 500.
But now it still says pro-ICE. So he didn't do a very good job there. It still says pro-ICE.
1,000 veterans and military families. Lang is a Florida man who was arrested.
Oh, wait, no, that is funny. Now it says pro-ICE. Oh, that is funny. So instead of saying prosecute ICE, now it says pro-ICE. Nice.
Arrested for storming the Capitol on January 6th and then eventually pardoned. He was also behind this rally that sparked a chaotic scene last month in downtown Minneapolis. Here's a new mugshot. He is facing criminal damage to property charges.
Oh.
They always tell you
police arresting.
So, and then also related to that, you know, they said Trump is backing down. He pulled like 700 ICE agents out of Minnesota after he had that meeting with, after he had that meeting out there. And what I said, you know, maybe we'll see this. It looks like a back down, but really it's a crackdown. They came to an agreement. He said, listen, you guys are looking at jail time for this fraud stuff. You need to help us get these immigrants out of here. So they made a deal to hand over to turnovers. Turnovers are all the people in the jails. The state, the DOJ, or DOC, which is the state level in Minnesota, was turning over the immigrants, but the county level and the city level, the county jails and the holding stations and stuff like that, they were releasing illegal immigrants back into the streets. The prisons were turning them over, but the jails weren't. So now the jails are going to start turning them over at a higher rate so that they'll need less people on the ground. And the officers, it seems like, are starting to, you know, work with them a little bit because now they're arresting protesters. Police officers are arresting protesters. They got like 30 last week. They got 50 right here. I think they're up to like 182 or 132 or 182 people have been arrested right now. ICE protesters. They're locking them up. So it wasn't a back down. It's a crackdown. They had to come to an agreement. And maybe there was some sort of, I don't want to say quid pro quo, but some sort of dealing there. Like, okay, listen, we'll take it easy on going after you guys about this fraud stuff, but you're going to have to help us with this ICE situation because this is getting bad and people are dying. And it's not because we're deporting people. It's because you're not sending the police in to help ICE. You're not doing your job as a city and as a state to help this situation. We're not having these problems in Florida and Texas where we have more deportations happening because the police go along with us. Your sanctuary city garbage is a problem. And I hope it wasn't some sort of deal that they'll look the other way about the fraud or go after other people relating to the fraud. But that's the only thing that I could think of that would make Waltz and Fry deal on this. If they're in charge, maybe he went around them. Maybe he went over their heads. I don't know.
Nearly 50 protesters
But this is protesters getting arrested. You love to see it.
outside of a federal building in Minneapolis as Homeland Security warns of escalating attacks on ICE agents. The senior correspondent, Steve Harrigan, live in Minneapolis with the latest from there. Steve.
Kevin, that protest out in front of the federal building in Minneapolis turned violent after protesters were told to disperse. At least 42 people were arrested when they were told they had to break it up.
Or maybe this isn't normal police. Maybe this is just federal officers, because Trump did say basically they're going to let them burn the city down. But if anybody comes near a federal building, they're going to be very aggressive. These didn't look like standard ICE agents, though. These look like maybe these are just federal officers who just stay and defend the building. I don't know.
He began throwing bottles and ice at the federal agents. At least one agent wounded, one patrol car smashed up, one protester arrested for assault. In the meantime here, these daily protests are really taking a toll on the local economy, especially small businesses and restaurants having a hard time. Local entrepreneurs trying to encourage people to buy local, many saying that this is worse for businesses than even COVID was.
Dumbasses.
My co-founder and I
Oh, God.
stopped by a restaurant on our street and ended up filling to-go orders for them because more than 50% of his staff is gone. Afraid to come to work for fear of being taken by ICE, even as U.S. citizens, even with work permits, even with the right paperwork.
Look at this old lady with a dang septum piercing behind her. You know, this lady would be hell to be married to. You too old for a dang septum piercing, lady.
Even as U.S. citizens, even with work permits, even with the right paperwork.
We've lived through this before during COVID in 2020 following the murder of George Floyd, and we're living through
What's George Floyd have to do with COVID?
it again, and this time it's worse.
700 ICE agents were pulled out on Wednesday. That still leaves 2,000.
Do you think it was COVID's fault, or do you think it was George Floyd riots' fault, or both?
Here. So far, no public timeline on when they will be leaving. Kevin, back to you.
Stay warm or do the best you can. Steve Harrigan up in Minneapolis. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate that. Joining me now.
Okay. So they're arresting protesters. Let's go. I'm happy to see it. All right. Now, the last little chunk here. We're done with all the news. News has been wrapped up. We're going to get into a little ancient Greek philosophy, a little Zeno's paradox here. I've talked about this before. I saw Alex O'Connor talking about it with an AI. It's kind of a paradox. It's called Zeno's paradox. And the idea is that motion is impossible because there's infinite small segments of every movement. So you must pass through an infinite amount of planes, or every step you take. When you take a step, you pass through infinite planes in a finite amount of time. And how is that possible? It's a paradox. Basically, the way Alex O'Connor does it, and I can show it to you here. It's a good example because I can just demonstrate it to you right now. If I'm sitting and I want to clap my hands, then let's say I'm scared to clap my hands. I'm afraid to clap my hands. You know, I just want to clap my hands, but I'm afraid to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work towards it little by little. I'm going to half the distance between my hands. There's 2 feet between my hands. I'm going to half the distance. So I'm going to move each hand 6 inches in. And now we have 1 foot of distance. And that's half the distance. Now let's think of that as a plane that my hands have to pass through. From here to here, that's one stage. And that's a plane that my hands have to pass through in order to go half the distance. Then I say, okay, let's just do that again. That wasn't so tough. Let's do that again. Let's half the distance. And now we've crossed through 2 planes. How many planes would I have to cross through? How many halves would I have to do before I could eventually clap my hands? And the answer is infinite. There's an infinite number of halves of planes that I would have to cross through to clap my hands. But if there's infinite, then how could I ever clap? If there's infinite planes between here and here, How is it possible that I can clap if I have to pass through infinity planes to clap my hands? If I clap my hands, if I just clap, is the universe going to explode because I'm going to pass through infinite planes in a finite amount of time? Kind of breaks your brain, right? Boom. Every time you clap, it should be impossible. So motion isn't really happening. It's a figment of our mind. But of course, you know, mathematicians and things, they debunk this. They say, no, it's not true. Eventually you will have, eventually you can clap your hands. It's possible to clap your hands. It shouldn't be possible to take a step because you're going to pass through infinite planes of stepping in a finite amount of time. But somehow it is possible. And so they solved this with math. I'm not satisfied with the solution, though. I'll show you the video here, a little cartoon, and we'll watch increasingly higher IQ videos to explain this. But let me open up this folder real quick. I opened it in the wrong thing. That's fine. Okay. Zeno's paradoxes are a set of philosophical problems devised by the 5th century BC Greek philosopher Zeno of Elea to argue that motion and change are illusory and impossible. Where's Teriak? He would love this. This is like the opposite of what Teriak always talks about. He always talks about how everything is constantly in motion and everything is constantly changing except for transcendentals. Zeno here argues that nothing is in change and nothing is in motion, and that motion is actually impossible, and it's just an illusion. So he has his Achilles tortoise problem, the dichotomy paradox. To travel a distance, one must travel half the distance, then half the remaining distance, and so on. As this continues forever, one can never reach the destination. So, and then the arrow paradox. An arrow in flight is motionless at any instance, since it occupies space equal to its length. If it's motionless at every instance, it never actually moves. That's a part of the Zeno paradox. That's the arrow paradox. If you took a picture, if you had a camera that could take every picture of the arrow is actually motionless. In a freeze frame instant in time, the arrow is motionless. So if it's always motionless in every picture and you could take infinite pictures, then it would never move. It would always be frozen. That's pretty deep, huh? Let's watch this cartoon that kind of explains the Achilles turtle paradox. I like cartoons that teach me stuff.
The Greek hero Achilles is challenged to a race by an unassuming tortoise, who claims that he can beat Achilles as long as he is given a head start. Achilles accepts the challenge, knowing that no man could beat him in a race, let alone a slow-moving tortoise. The tortoise is given a head start. The race begins and Achilles bursts forward, making up ground on the slow-moving tortoise. However, by the time that Achilles has made it to the tortoise's starting point, the tortoise has moved forward by 1 meter. By the time Achilles makes up the ground on the new gap, the tortoise has moved again, creating a new but smaller gap. Every time that Achilles reaches the point where the tortoise was, a new smaller gap has formed as the tortoise continues to plod forward, and so always remains slightly ahead of Achilles. This paradox was created by the ancient Greek philosopher Zeno, who lived 2,500 years ago. The paradox supports the idea that motion is impossible, as to get from point A to point B, one has to travel an infinite amount of steps. Before I reach my destination, I must first travel to its halfway point. But before I can get to...
And see, they said steps, but it doesn't mean a million steps, like walking steps, but there are steps in the process, or what I said, you could consider them planes. So each halfway point is a plane that you need to pass through. and you're going to pass through 1 million planes before you get to your not 1 million, I mean an infinite number of planes before you get to your destination. There's infinite halfway points that you have to pass through. So how is that possible?
To the halfway point, I must first travel to its halfway point, and so on and so on. If one has to travel an infinite amount of distances, then the destination is never reached. But clearly, motion is possible, and we know that Achilles would quickly overtake the tortoise. Many solutions to Zeno's paradox have been offered. The standard solution argues that Zeno was wrong to assume that the sum of the distances which Achilles has to run is infinite. The path which Achilles runs is a linear continuum, so is composed of an actual infinity of points, or a transfinite set of points. However, the sum of these distances is a finite distance, as the series converges. Although you can split up 10 meters into an actual infinity of points, the sum of that infinity will be 10 meters. In contrast, a potential infinity gets bigger over time.
Okay, so from the halfway point, there's infinite backwards and infinite forwards, and those two infinites, once they combine, they still equal the number of meters that it is. There's infinite half meters and halves of meters and halves of meters in both directions, and they add together almost like a negative and a positive. They outweigh each other to get to 10 is what they're saying.
And so would be
but they show with a square, and I'll show you why the square one doesn't work for me.
Urgent. So Achilles wins the race, and motion is possible after all.
Okay. But this one, so 5th century BCE, Zeno offered arguments that led to conclusions contradicting what we all know from physical experience, that runners run, arrows fly, and there are many different things in the world. The arguments were paradoxes for the ancient Greek philosophers. Many of Zeno's arguments turn crucially on the notion that space and time are infinitely divisible. He was the first person to show that the concept of infinity is problematic, and it is. Yes, that's why there's no such thing as physical infinites. But he's right. He's right that there are infinite halves in every motion. So how is it possible that we can move? In his Achilles paradox, Achilles races to catch a slow runner, for example, a tortoise. This is the Achilles one. We cannot escape the Achilles paradox by jumping up from our seat and chasing down a tortoise, nor by saying Zeno's opponents should have constructed a new argument in which Achilles takes better aim and runs toward the place ahead of the tortoise, because Zeno was correct in saying Achilles needs to run at least to all those places where the tortoise once was. What is required is a better analysis of Zeno's own argument. And this is a long article. I'm not going to read through all of it, but this is Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy. But if you guys want to learn more about this, you can read all through here about Zeno's paradoxes here. But I'd rather just watch the videos while we're hanging out. Is this the one with the square? Yeah, this one has the blue square. When they break it down on the blue square, I'll show you like the problem I have with this explanation. Ted Ed.
This is Zeno of Elea, an ancient Greek philosopher famous for inventing a number of paradoxes, arguments that seem logical but whose conclusion is absurd or contradictory. For more than 2,000 years, Zeno's mind-bending riddles have inspired mathematicians and philosophers to better understand the nature of infinity. One of the best known of Zeno's problems is called the dichotomy paradox, which means the paradox of cutting in two in ancient Greek. It goes something like this. After a long day of sitting around thinking, Zeno decides to walk from his house to the park. The fresh air clears his mind and helps him think better. In order to get to the park, he first has to get halfway to the park. This portion of his journey takes some finite amount of time. Once he gets to the halfway point, he needs to walk half the remaining distance. Again, this takes a finite amount of time. Once he gets there, he still needs to walk half the distance that's left, which takes another finite amount of time. This happens again and again and again. You can see that we can keep going like this forever, dividing whatever distance is left into smaller and smaller pieces, each of which takes some finite time to traverse. So, how long does it take Zeno to get to the park? Well, to find out, we need to add the times of each of the pieces of the journey. The problem is, there are infinitely many of these finite-sized pieces. So, shouldn't the total time be infinity? This argument, by the way, is completely general. It says that travelling from any location to any other location should take an infinite amount of time. In other words, it says that all motion is impossible. This conclusion is clearly absurd, but where's the flaw in the logic? To resolve the paradox, it helps to turn the story into a math problem. Let's suppose that Zeno's house is 1 mile from the park, and that Zeno walks at 1 mile per hour. Common sense tells us that the time for the journey should be 1 hour. But let's look at things from Zeno's point of view and divide up the journey into pieces. The first half of the journey takes half an hour. The next part takes quarter of an hour. The third part takes an eighth of an hour, and so on. Summing up all these times, we get a series that looks like this. Now, Zeno might say, since there are infinitely many terms on the right-hand side of the equation, and each individual term is finite, the sum should equal infinity, right? This is the problem with Zeno's argument. As mathematicians have since realized, it is possible to add up infinitely many finite-sized terms and still get a finite answer. How, you ask? Well, let's think of it this way. Let's start with a square that has area 1 unit. Now let's chop the square in half, and then chop the remaining half in half, and so on. While we're doing this, let's keep track of the areas of the pieces. The first...
Now see, so they're saying the square is going to be filled. But the square will never be filled, because this little top point up here, see how that little tiny corner is still white? If we could keep zooming in on that and made it bigger, then that's still just a whole nother square. And that's going to keep having and having and having and having. And you're never actually going to fill in the square. But their solution to this paradox is this. They say that just eventually the square is just filled in. It looks filled in. But if you could zoom in, there would still be a tiny bit of unfilled square there that you could put another square into, and half that, and put another square into. And this big blue square, if you zoomed in on it, it would just keep happening over and over and over again.
Slice makes 2 parts.
Maybe it's just because I'm not good at math, but this answer doesn't satisfy me.
Each with an area of 1/2. The next slice divides one of those halves in half, and so on. But no matter how many times we slice up the boxes, the total area is still the sum of the areas of all the pieces. Now you can see why we chose this particular way of cutting up the square. We've obtained the same infinite series as we had for the time of Zeno's journey. As we construct more and more blue pieces, to use the math jargon, as we take the limit as n tends to infinity, the entire square becomes covered with blue. But the area of the square is just 1 unit, and so the infinite sum must equal 1. Going back to Zeno's journey, we can now see how the paradox is resolved. Not only does the infinite series sum to a finite answer, but that finite answer is the same one that common sense tells us is true. Zeno's journey takes 1 hour.
Dang, Zeno, they got you. They got you.
In this video, we're going to look at the paradox.
I don't want to see Achilles and the turtle. I want to see the arrow. Not Zeno's dichotomy, but Zeno's arrow. The arrow one is interesting too. Zeno's arrow. Zeno's paradox explained. Zeno's arrow paradox.
Have you ever contemplated that motion is nothing but an illusion? Well, Zeno's paradoxes tend to challenge the norms of one's senses and belief in plurality. These paradoxes are a set of philosophical problems generally thought to have been devised by the Greek philosopher named Zeno from In this particular paradox, Zeno gives an example of error in flight. For this, we have to imagine an archer standing at point A and shooting the arrow towards point B. Zeno states that for motion to occur, the arrow must change the position which it occupies. If the total time elapsed between A and B is divided into particular instants as 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, then at any one particular instant, the arrow is not moving to where it is, nor to where it is not. It is not moving to where it is because it is already there, and it cannot move to where it is not because no time has elapsed for it to move there. Therefore, there is no motion occurring at any instant of time. If everything is motionless at every instant of time, and time entirely is composed of instants, then the motion is impossible.
Dang. Motion is impossible. I think I'm on
Zeno,
Zeno's side. I like my boy Zeno here. I think I'm going to agree with him. Motion's impossible. I agree.
Was a Greek philosopher who lived in Elea, Italy, between 490 and 430 BC. He was a student of Parmenides, who is considered to be the founder of metaphysics. Zeno is best known for a series of paradoxes that he stated and explored. One of the best known of these paradoxes is the so-called dichotomy paradox. Dichotomy comes from the Greek meaning to divide in two. Suppose we want to go to a place that's a certain distance away. To get to the destination...
Alright, they're all just going to keep re-explaining it. But I think this one, at the end, they explain the math a little better.
We first have to reach the halfway point. After reaching the halfway point, we have to travel half of the remaining path, and then half of what remains after that, and so on. This process goes on forever, and so it seems we'll never get to the end. We need to add up the times elapsed at the end of each stage to find the total time. But since the number of stages is infinite, isn't the total time going to be infinite as well? Zeno thought so. He concluded therefore that motion is impossible, or at
Look, the distance traveled after the... So there's infinite stages.
best is an illusion. So is motion an illusion? Or was there something that Zeno didn't know? Back in those days, it was thought that the result of an infinite sum must itself be infinite. But later on, mathematicians realized that adding infinitely many numbers together can give a finite result. Suppose we want to go somewhere that's 1 kilometer away, but let's do the calculation from Zeno's point of view. First we have to get halfway, or half the total distance, then half of the remaining half, or 1/4 of the total, then 1/8, and so on. So in terms of total distance, after the first stage we've gone half of the total distance, after the second stage we've gone 3/4 of the total distance, and after the third stage we've gone 7/8 of the total distance, and so on. We can express this mathematically as 2 to the n minus 1 over 2 to the n, or 1 minus 1 over 2 to the n, where n is the number of stages. Zeno was right in saying that in order to reach the destination we need to go an infinite number of stages, but as n gets bigger and bigger, 1 over 2 to the n gets smaller and smaller. In fact, as n goes towards infinity, 1 over 2 to the n approaches 0. So, far from the sum of our infinite number of terms shooting off to infinity, it's actually just 1. We can reach our destination, and we've resolved the dichotomy paradox. Zeno wasn't really wrong, it's just that mathematical knowledge had to develop to provide a proper explanation.
Poor Zeno. I think I'm still going to be on Zeno's side. Motion is impossible. We live in a simulation. Everything's fake. The birds aren't real. They're robots. What's Wikipedia say about this? Where's the arrow one? Or here, this is yeah, some demonstrations here. Every movement you make You're breaking the universe. You're breaking infinity. Here's the turtle. Here's Achilles' turtle. Here's the arrow. See, at every flash frame moment, the arrow is not in motion. You ever think of that? You've never moved anywhere. You've never moved in your life. Suppose Atalanta wishes to walk to the end of the path. Before she can get there, she must get halfway there. Before she can get halfway there, she must get a quarter of the way there. Before she can get a quarter, she must go an eighth of the way there. Infinite. The arrow paradox, not to be confused with other paradoxes of the same name. If everything, when it occupies an equal space, is at rest at that instant of time, and if that which is in locomotion is always occupying such a space at any moment, the flying arrow is therefore motionless at the instant in time and at the next instant of time. But if both instants of time are taken at the same instant or continuous instant of time, then it is in motion. Aristotle gives three other paradoxes: the paradox of place, the paradox of the grain millet. If everything that exists has a place, place too will have a place, and so on ad infinitum. Single grain of millet makes no sound upon falling, but 1,000 grains makes a sound. Hence, 1,000 nothings become something. An absurd conclusion. This is Aristotle's response to so Zeno made this millet grain thing. Aristotle responds, Zeno's reasoning is false when he argues that there is no part of the millet that does not make a sound, for there is no reason why any such part should not in any length of time fail to move the air that the whole bushel moves in falling. In fact, it does not of itself move such a quantity of air as it would move if this part were by itself, for no part exists otherwise than potentially. Anyway, these are just a bunch of Zeno's paradoxes. I thought it was interesting, fun little thing to learn about. But I'm sick, guys. I got to get ready for work, and it's going to suck tonight. So I'm going to head out early. We got the news. We talked about the paradox. No super chat questions to read. I'll send you guys over to the debate on Speakeasy's channel. But I got to get out of here. I got to get prepared to leave for work. So let me see. I'll send you over here. Thank you guys for hanging out, guys. Again, I'm sick. Sorry I got started late. It's been a, quick show, short show. But I'll see you probably in the morning, do some Bible stuff. But God bless everybody. The world's a crazy place. I just report on it. If you like it, tell a friend. If you hate it, tell everybody. Dreaded Conservative Show. We out. Go say hi to Speakeasy and all them over there at that debate. I will catch you later. I'm out. Peace.